Hi guys, today we're gonna talk about the component interactions, how to pass data from parent component to child component, and how to communicate with the parent from the child component. Let's create two new components. Generate component parent and let's do the same, but let's create child component. Now we can run our application by typing ngserve, and let's open localhost 4200. Okay, in your app component HTML, put a selector for the parent component, which is app parent. This displays the parent component, and inside HTML of the parent component, let's put selector for the child component. This is app child. So this should display child works. Okay, so we want to pass the data from the parent component to the child component. So how do we do it? Let's say that our data to pass will be child name. So in your child component, we create input, name, and by default it's gonna be empty string. In app child selector, by data binding, we pass child name to the child name input. So this child name is the property in parent component, and this name is input in child component. And if you want to display it, we just type name. So if we inspect the element, we can see that here is our app parent component, here is the child component, and here in the child component is the data passed from the parent. Let's make it more visible. Let's create div, and in our style, let's say that div have border red, and child component will be we put in div, and let's say that the child component will have border 1 pixel but green. Okay, and let's put some margin inside of the child, so it's gonna be more, yes. So here is the parent component, here is the child component inside. Okay, if you want to validate the data that is passed to the child component, we create getter and setter. So this is the setter, And to retrieve the name, we create getter for the name. So now we have to create a private property name dash name. It's gonna be string type. And in the setter, if value is not equal empty string, we assign our name to the passed value. Otherwise, let's say that our name will be undefined name. And in the getter, we just return the private property. Okay, so now, right now it's child name, but let's change the child name in parent component and let it be empty string. It should show the undefined name. If you want to, let's assume we want to display this name in input. So we assign the name to ng model. Name is the name property, of course. Okay. And here we will display the text. My child name is child name. So right now it's empty string. And in child component, we're gonna set this name to something. Let's say that this name gonna be Greg. Right now you can see that we changed the value of the input and the child name property, but it wasn't passed to the parent component. If we want to pass something to the parent component, we must create output. This is gonna be the type of event emitter from Angular core. It's gonna be event emitter, and we're gonna emit string value. In the child component HTML, let's create a button, and on click, we're gonna change name in parent. So let's create the change name in parent, and in this function we're gonna use the set name emitter, set name, and we're gonna emit name which was assigned to the input. And in parent component, we have the in child component we have the output set name. In parent component, we have to create set name. We have to bind in our appchild selector set name event, and in arguments we create $event, which is the emitted data, which is this name. So let's assign the new value, which is gonna be string, to this child name equals new value. Okay, it compiled and it doesn't work. Let's see why. Right now we changed the name. Oh, I didn't save the parent component HTML. So maybe right now. Okay. So we changed the name to Greg, and on click we change the name in parent component. Okay. In your parent component, we can create something more. Let's create array of child names, and let's put it child 1, child 2, child 3. Let's comment this for a minute. And in our parent, let's create div tag, and let's create ng4. Let child of how do I name it? Child names. Let equal index, and in our ng4 we create 3 child appchild components. We have child 1, child 2, and child 3. And above that, let's display in inline element child names. Child 1, child 2, child 3. Let's assign our setName function, and it's gonna work exactly the same, except that we're gonna pass the index of the child we are changing. Index number, and in the child names array, on the index we're gonna assign the new value. So let's see how it works. Let's say that here is gonna be Greg, here is gonna be Peter, and here is gonna be Joe. So as you can see, you can emit different values from different childs, and it's not gonna mess up. We have 3 child components. They have separate inputs and separate outputs, and this is how you can communicate with the parent and with the child. That's it for today. Complete code for this lesson you can find on my GitHub page.